Okay, well, welcome to the last new content video. This is examples from our Taylor and Maclaurin series, and hopefully it makes you calm a little more about this topic. It can sometimes look intimidating, but it actually isn't all that bad if we remember those common Taylor series we had from last time. So I'm going to do this first one, which is actually number 11 from the book. But I'm going to do it two different ways. First of all, just using the basic idea that a sub n needs to be the nth derivative, since these are Maclaurin series, evaluated at 0 over n factorial. Well, e to the x has some straightforward derivatives. So f of x is e to the minus x. F prime of x is negative e to the minus x f double prime of x equals e to the minus x, and you can see it's just going to go from positive to negative to positive to negative. When we evaluate these at 0, f of 0 is 1, f prime of 0 is negative 1, f double prime of 0 is going to be back to 1. This is going to alternate 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1. So our coefficients are going to go, we're going to have f of x. My first coefficient, which is the 0 term, is going to be 1. That's f of 0 over 0 factorial again. 0 factorial is defined to be 1, and x to the 0 is defined to be 1. Then we're going to get plus negative 1 over 1 factorial times x to the first plus, I'm going to write my negative sign there, plus 1 over 2 factorial x squared plus negative 1 over 3 factorial x cubed, and so on. Okay, so that's using the definition idea. So in writing it in simpler terms, you'd simply get 1 minus x plus x squared over 2 factorial minus x cubed over 3 factorial. Okay, so that's the one way of doing it. Now, a second way is to use the common ones we know. We know from last time what the Taylor series is for e to the x, for sine of x, and for cosine of x. So we had these last time. We also had that 1 over 1 minus x is 1 plus x squared plus x cubed plus x to the fourth, and so on. Okay, so we want to have these handy. The nice thing is you can do substitutions in these. So if I took the e to the x1 and replace the x with opposite of x, so the way I think of it is the box. I think e to the box is going to be 1 plus box plus the box squared over 2 factorial plus box cubed over 3 factorial, and so on. And I simply, instead of putting an x in that box, put an opposite of x in that box. I get e to the minus x is 1 plus the opposite of x plus the opposite of x squared is going to be just x squared over 2 factorial. Opposite of x cubed is going to be opposite of x cubed over 3 factorial, and so on. And notice we get the same result. Let's practice that with the next example, which is actually number 15 from the homework. So a lot of your homework can be done this way, virtually all of it. I think there's one where you have to go back to the definition. So we know the sine function. We know sine of x is 1 minus, try that again, x minus x cubed over 3 factorial plus x to the 5th over 5 factorial minus x to the 7th over 7 factorial, and so on. So sine of 3x all we do is we go in here and replace the x with 3x. And we get 3x minus 3x cubed over 3 factorial plus 3x to the 5th over 5 factorial minus 3x to the 7th over 7 factorial, and so on. Now, it would be probably a good exercise to go through and at least confirm the first two of these terms using the definition. You can sort of see we're going to get powers of 3 because every time you take the derivative, this chain rule is going to give you a 3 on front, and it's going to flip their signs back and forth. So it is just a neat shortcut for doing these Maclaurin series. Really handy trick to have. Okay, and then finally, we have number 33. And here we can just use two of our things. We know cosine of x is 1 minus x squared over 2 factorial plus x to the 4th over 4 factorial. And then minus x to the 6th over 6 factorial, and so on. Okay, so that was one of our standard ones from back here. We also know that 1 over 1 minus x is this. If I multiply through everything by 2, I'm going to get 2 over 1 minus x. So 2 over 1 minus x is going to be 2 plus 2x plus 2x squared plus 2x cubed plus 2x to the 4th, and so on. And so to subtract them, all we do is we go ahead and we subtract term by term. So I have 1 minus 2, so I get cosine x minus 2 over 1 minus x. That's going to be 1 minus 2 is negative 1. I have no x's up here, so I get minus 2x, because I'm subtracting the second row. X squareds, I have negative a half plus 2, so that's going to be plus 3 halves. Oh, sorry, minus 2, so that's going to be minus 5 halves. X cubed, well, there's not there, so I'm just going to get the minus 2x cubed. X to the 4th, I have 1 over 4 factorial, which is 1/24th, and then I'm going to subtract 2 from it. Okay, so you can see it's going to get ugly. But we can just go term by term by term and subtract. Okay, so these series are sort of nice because when you actually do algebra series, all you're doing is reducing it to polynomials. That's the advantage of them. The disadvantage is obviously you have to deal with convergence, and we're not as comfortable with this idea of an infinite sum. Okay, so that's for the examples. Giving you a little bit of a heads up of what we're going to do for the final, and I'll also send a note about this tomorrow. Thinking about the stress everybody's under and how I can hopefully alleviate a little bit of that for you. I'm going to make it so that the final cannot hurt your grade. So the final exam, it can only move your grade up. It can't move your grade down. So if you have a bad day, it's not going to count. You'll have whatever grade you went into the final with. I will be sending over the weekend. Each of you will get an email saying where your current grade is, and then you can make a decision. Obviously, if your current grade is an A, you don't have to take the final. If it's a B+, yeah, you can take your chances, and if you don't do well, that's fine. You stay with the B+. If you get a good grade, you bring it up to an A. I know the college is giving you some options in terms of pass, fail, and so on. Obviously, that's totally your choice. But hopefully this takes a little bit of the stress off the situation. I will be posting a sample final and solution sets and so on, but we really don't have unfortunately, we don't have the meeting in class time, which I think is critically important when you're trying to study for a final, to have other people that you can study with. So that's the way we're going to do it. We'll probably actually administer the exam the same way we did with the exam 3, that you'll tell me when you want to take it. I'll send you the copy right beforehand. You submit it. So details on that will be sent out in an announcement in the class through Blackboard. And hopefully your stress levels can start coming down here. I know this has just been a crazy semester, the weirdest one we've ever had. And hopefully by fall we'll all be back on campus, and this will be all behind us, we hope. So take care, stay healthy, and I will be getting in contact with you about the final.